take any of that up.
Thank you, Dr. Gentry. The document that you have in front of you is a culmination of all of our budget meetings to date. This document incorporates the changes that were voted on at the last committee meeting, which basically was to include the 10% cost of living adjustment increase, the salary step increase, and then to also add 4 paid days to the paraprofessional work calendar, and then to reinstate the 3 human resources positions back into this budget proposal that was included in the original draft and then subsequently reduced through some discussion. And so what we have in front of you, if you look at the first page, document number 1, again, at the top of the page, employee compensation includes a 10% across-the-board cost of living adjustment plus a step increase for all employees. It also includes the inflationary increases that we've talked about, the positions and additional expenses as it relates to the Metro Government Oracle R12 conversion, the continuation of the existing pre-K program as the federal grant sunsets at mid-fiscal year next year, and the increase for our charter school transfer based upon increase in number of students and the increase in the per pupil amount. At the bottom part of the page, we have the items that we've been discussing, the proposed changes that total approximately $7.7 million. The Metro Internal Audit Memorandum of Understanding for the 2 audit positions that will be contracted through the Metro Office of Internal Audit. Again, the 3 positions in Human Resources and Employee Relations, the 4 positions and additional expenses in IT. Additional dollars for textbooks, approximately $2.7 million increase. Adding the days to our paraprofessionals, as we discussed and as Dr. Majors mentioned at our last meeting, this would add 4 additional work days to our paraprofessional work calendar at a cost of approximately $850,000. The individual learning plan software for our English learners at $350,000. The additional positions to add a grade at our early college program, 4 additional teaching positions. The next line item is where we included the cost of the 12 care centers at elementary schools in addition to the other social and emotional learning positions that we've discussed. The 2 additional translators and 1 translator scheduler position, those 3 positions. And then the increase in the bus driver and monitor pay at an additional $1 per hour plus increase in the attendance bonus. The reduction of 11 non-school-based positions at just over $1 million. All of that adding up to an increase of approximately $76.7 million, which is an 8.6% increase. This would add an additional 54.5 positions. A total budget request of approximately $962.9 million. So I'm happy to take any questions. I know we've been discussing this document now for 5 weeks or so, but happy to try to answer any questions that anyone may have.
I don't have a question, but I have a proposal. So my understanding is that the 4 vacation days that were added, or the 4 paid days were added in for parapros, there are still 500 support staff employees who are not receiving that amount, and I don't think it was anyone's intention to exclude anyone. So I would just like to add in those 4 days for all of our support employees.
Okay, I don't know what the cost of that would be, and we would need to look at all of the different types of support employees because there's a number of different types of positions. I think, as Dr. Majors indicated, the paraprofessionals were specifically mentioned because they work directly with students, and this would come closer to mimicking the special education teacher work calendar as far as the number of professional development days that go into it. There are a number of other positions that are support employees, including food service employees, which are paid out of a different fund that we would need to look at and see what the what the increase there would be, because I don't know what that would be. And
Just to clarify, this came from the SEIU, and they told me that there are 900 paraprofessionals, I believe, and then this would be an additional 500. That's, so, to help you clarify what I mean by that.
Well, if it means anything, Dr. Majors has already received the request, and we'll be looking into it. We spoke about, once we present this to the mayor, we know that we will likely be getting some cuts, but we'll have the numbers, the exact numbers by then to see if we can roll it into the next budget.
so to be clear, that would be included in the next iteration of a budget that would come back to the board.
Right, this is just something that we can still bring up even after we get the official budget from the mayor.
Okay.
So just for clarification purposes, there's going to be a presentation to Mayor Briley of the current budget if the board approves it as it's printed today.
Correct.
And what are we expecting with regards to feedback? I mean, so I think you're suggesting that there's going to be a number given to us. I don't know that we normally walk away from there with a number, or do we?
Not from the hearing typically. The process is that we, including, of course, the board, would make a presentation to the mayor at the budget hearing scheduled for April 17th at 8:30 in the morning. And then at some point before the end of April or before May 1st, the mayor will be presenting his budget recommendation for all of Metro government to the Metro Council, which will include the total funding allocation that he is recommending for the school district. And I know that the State of Metro address has just recently been scheduled for April the 30th at 10 o'clock. And so we typically would know at that point what our funding allocation would be, and then we would know what kind of changes need to be made from what the board will approve tonight that will be discussed at the budget hearing with the mayor on the 17th.
So I guess what I'm trying to clarify is the adjustment as a result of the 500 additional employees. When will that number be seen within the context of this current document?
It could be seen at the next board meeting.
Okay. All right, so I just want to make sure that we understand, but that would be after the hearing with the mayor. Gotcha.
Correct.
If you don't mind, Madam Chair, just to clarify for the viewing public, so today we'll be discussing and proposing a budget. This budget amount, this budget request we're making is about $77 million. We present that to the mayor. The mayor then kind of reviews it so we'll present it on April 17th and get a little bit of feedback. But on April 30th, when he offers his state of the city address, he'll propose his recommended amount. So if we're asking for $77 million, it would be great if on April 30th he said, here's $77 million for you. Let's say that that's not the case. Metro MNPS administration comes back to us with their proposed cuts. So whatever, we've proposed this 10% COLA increase. We've proposed a number of increases for our support staff, for parapros, for bus drivers, bus monitors. But we also are looking at some SEL support, some social emotional learning support, some care centers, some supports for HR. We just have a lot of different things that we want to do for our schools. When he comes back with his proposal for us, then we start looking at where can we cut. Then we'll start begging and bugging the council members to see if they can find other dollars in the rest of the budget to reallocate and give us the other things that we may need. So my suggestion is just that Dr. Majors, Mr. Henson, and the different departments will be looking at how much it will cost to increase those professional days, those professional development days for all of the parapros, and that will be included in that next discussion of where cuts may come from and what we think needs to be in there versus what we may have to wait for in next year's budget. I hope I've explained that well.
And go ahead, Mr. Henson.
Mr. Henson, what kind of guidance have you and Dr. Joseph received from the Metro Department of Finance about what available new revenue there might be in the next fiscal year for the school system?
I have not had specific guidance. Dr. Joseph may have, but I've not had specific guidance from the Finance Department as far as a number goes.
Okay, so they haven't signaled 25 to 30 million?
Not to me.
All right, they have to me, so we're getting ready to transmit a budget that is, well in excess of that. I just wanted to go on the record and say that.
Any other questions or comments? So just want to point out to the viewing public, in case you're interested, the current budget that we're looking at has been posted online in the budget area on the MNPS website. And so now you need a vote. Right. So does anyone want to make a motion on the current budget?
I move that we accept the budget proposal as stated.
Is there a second?
Second.
Right. All in favor of submitting the budget?
We have
Oh, discussion, yes,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
I just want to say, I think there are still problems with this budget, and I'm going to renew, not tonight, but I'm going to renew my request to work with all of you when the mayor's, the amount that the mayor has decided upon and the council approves, it comes back to us, because I do think we need to go through this, but for our purposes tonight, because we need to move forward, I'm going to go ahead and vote this through, but I just want to state on the record that I have reservations about several portions of the budget. That's all.
For clarity for our administrators, I know you said Allaview is something that you want to look at. What are some other things that they can be considering or thinking about before our next budget meeting?
I just think the board needs to sit down with an independent company like Allaview, which we're already paying, in order to go line by line through the budget and make sure that we are all in agreement with what is included, and especially after there's been a cut to our request, I think it would make sense to do it at that point. So I don't have something specific right now.
Anyone else? Any other discussion? So all in favor of presenting the budget as it exists today? Can I get a show of hands? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, got one. All right. So that's 8,
I just knew you wasn't
7
ready.
and 1 abstention. Thank you very much. That's it?
That's it.
All righty.
Thank you.
We will, adjourn for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes in the back, guys, for our next committee meeting.
So we're just going to talk about it and vote later?